Hello, everyone, and welcome to TechM InternView, a conversation where Tech Mahindra interns get to sit across from the people shaping the company's future and ask the questions that actually matter to us. I am Sarika Suman, currently pursuing my MBA at IIM Vishakhapatnam and doing digital marketing internship here. And joining me today are Garvita Mishra and Yash Nair. And in just a moment, we'll be speaking with someone whose thinking on people, culture, and the future of work is visionary. But first, let's get to know who is in the room.
Hi everyone, my name is Garvita Mishra. I'm currently pursuing my MBA from IIM Vishakhapatnam as well. I have a background in psychology and I'm working as an HR intern at Tech Mahindra. I look forward to building a career in the HR field itself. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yash Nair. I'm currently pursuing an MBA from XIMB, and I'm currently serving as a consulting intern in the Pune office of Tech Mahindra. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure to be joined today by Richard Lobo, Chief People Officer at Tech Mahindra. Over the course of his career, Richard has helped shape talent, culture, and leadership across organizations, and his perspectives on the future of work and keeping people at the heart of change have resonated with professionals across generations. As interns who are just beginning our own journeys in the corporate world, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to learn from someone who has spent decades building leaders and helping organizations navigate change. I'm truly excited to be part of this conversation and to learn from Richard's experiences and insights. Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
So the first question I would like to ask you is there is growing anxiety among students about the relevance of our skills in the age of AI. So what is the one skill or quality that you would bet on that is still relevant in the AI age today?
That's a great question. The skill I would bet on for anyone, whether it is now or in the future, is the ability to learn. And as humans, we have a fantastic ability to learn. Through the course of several generations, there have been different technologies, there have been evolution of business models, there has been changes in the world around us. The people who have succeeded in navigating this have been the people who have been able to learn. The real challenge will be the day you stop learning. So, no matter what technology happens, what is before you, as long as you're able to keep learning and evolve as things evolve around you, you will always be relevant.
That's a wonderful answer, Richard. So my next question is: many companies in today's age they talk about becoming AI first. So what, according to you, does it mean to be people first at the same time?
To me, being people first is always the point a company needs to take. There is no company which can get ahead without its people, whether it is going to focus on AI, or whether it is going to focus on services, whether it's going to focus on care, whether it is going to focus on hospitality. It is your people that makes the difference. AI is fantastic, and I'm not diminishing its impact on the world around us. But it is people who will come first because, in the end, as businesses, we serve people businesses no matter what we do. So, a company which places its people at the center can always use technology to enhance its offerings. It can use technology to improve things. It can use technology to deliver better to consumers, to others. So, to me, it's people first always. AI is a great enabler. It's something which every company should encourage its people to get into. But at the center of what we do, at the center of our existence, is always people.
That's a wonderful answer, Richard.
So, Richard, my next question would be when you interact with young professionals like us, what mindset gap do you notice most often between what we expect from work and what actually help us grow and succeed in our careers?
I don't really see this as a gap. I've always felt that every group which comes to the workplace brings fresh thoughts, fresh ideas, improved way of doing things to the world around you. So it's not a gap. I think the way every generation looks at the workplace is different, and it's different for the better. It's not different for in any negative way. Because just as the workforce gets new people into it, so does the world, so does businesses. It's just like, to me, change of the season, and there's no right or wrong with what a particular group brings to the table along with it. So to me, it's not a gap. I think it's a new way of looking at things, a fresh way of looking at things. But at the same time, we should not lose the learnings of the past. You always can invent things, but that's not the idea. The idea is to invent things which are for the better and not redo what was already done. Like someone very funnily said, there is no point in reinventing the tire because it's always been there, but you can always figure out new things to do with it. So that's what I would encourage people entering the workforce to always look at: the learnings of the past, things which are built in, and how you can innovate and do better on it, or even bring in totally new ideas which probably didn't exist before. So it's not a gap. It's a great thing. It's a freshness, and that's what the world needs.
That was a wonderful insight. I'm very sure we'll learn from this. Also, I was reading your interview with the Economic Times HR World, where you said that the hard part of HR is still human. That really stayed with me. So, as organizations become increasingly AI enabled, what aspects of leadership do you still believe must remain distinctly human?
To me, the toughest challenges, and I mean it very seriously, have always been: how do you deal with the human aspects of work, irrespective of which technology you're dealing with? Having a conversation or with an employee, having a conversation with a client. How do you present yourself in a group? How do you interact when you step into the room for the first time and you haven't met people before? How do you handle yourself at a formal setting or a dinner? How do you deal with very difficult conversations, dealing with grief, dealing with difficulties people go through? These are not skills which are gained overnight. These are skills which are gained over a long period of time. And to the best of my knowledge, these skills can't be substituted. Even you have what they call as emotion bots and so on, it can't be substituted, because human beings have evolved over a much, much longer time than technology has. And we have been used to the fact of meeting each other physically, interacting with each other in a very physical sense. And that skill, each one of us develops over a lifetime. And no matter which stage of your life you are in, you can always do better. And those are the skills which I have been emphasizing on. Because to get people to do better, to get people to do better in organizations and to lead, you need these people skills. And whether it is you're leading a company, whether you're leading a team, whether you're leading a much larger place, like, for example, a country, it is these skills where you inspire, where you get others to align with what you want to do with your vision, where you want people to reach for the stars. That's essentially human. And if you look at any pursuit, whether it is somebody going to the moon or somebody accomplishing anything great, has always been fueled by a human leading other humans. And that is what continues to remain relevant. Irrespective of what tools you have, you can always use the tools to do things better. For example, write a better speech, improve the way you deliver something. But the core always remains what you have inherent with you.
I absolutely will agree to this. That is actually very insightful. So, with that, I'll please ask Yash to go ahead with the interview.
Sure. Thank you, Sarika. Hi, Richard. I'm Yash. I'm from XIMB as an MBA student, and I'm currently interning at the Pune office under the consulting domain. So my first question for you is that, you have seen the workplace throughout many different eras. So what is one thing about human behavior that has remained surprisingly consistent despite all of these disruptions we're being seeing?
What I've seen consistent, and I've just seen a very small fraction of the world of work. It's been much longer than what I have seen. But what has been consistent is the ability of a human to see a need or a requirement where none existed and to develop a solution for it. Now, you could take anything. You could take a phone, you could take an iPad, or you could take a device which, you name it. It has always been evolved by a human need to see a human being able to see a need which didn't exist before and to innovate and create it. Right from the time in 1708 when the steam engine was invented to probably when the telephone was invented and so on and so forth, there was always a gap. And that is what has impressed me. And while I have named inventions, it's not always inventions. It could be a business model, it could be a way of doing things, it could be a process. So I'm not focusing only on material stuff, but it always starts with a need. Now, whether there is a requirement, a desire for somebody to pay or add value for that particular need is something which has always impressed me. And all human endeavor has been in terms of finding a solution to a problem and then delivering on that solution to the satisfaction that somebody is willing to pay you money for it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. My next question is, what is a early career rule that you once followed by heart, but now you don't feel like it really applies anymore?
I don't think that's a rule I followed, but I will answer that question. The rule always was that learning and knowledge comes through hierarchy or through number of years. And that has clearly been disrupted these days because whether it is learning or whether it is knowledge is no longer determined by hierarchy. And that's fantastic for anyone like you starting their career today. Because for a long time, it was essential. There was no shortcuts to this particular one. But with the evolution of technology, and especially the evolution of both the internet, cloud computing, as well as AI, this has largely been disrupted. So you will find people contributing productively to the workplace much earlier than they could before, having opportunities which did not exist, say, maybe a few years back. There will be failures. It's not like it's going to guarantee that everybody will be successful, but it has broken this whole linkage between linearity of learning and the ability to do things in organizations. And the classic examples, you'll find that many founders of many interesting organizations these days are much younger than they used to be before.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. My next question is, one of the biggest reasons for a lot of these acquisitions failing is due to lack of cultural alignment, right? So could you tell us a bit about what is your philosophy of integrating these new companies within TechM's ecosystem?
I wouldn't point it to only culture. Culture is one essential ingredient, but there are a whole lot of ingredients which go into making a business successful. And that's how you look at it, right? Whether you're preparing a great dish or you're making business successful, there's a whole lot of ingredients which need to go into it, and they need to go into it in the right proportion. It is your business model, it's the kind of people you have, it's the kind of clients you work with, it's the solutions you bring to the table, it's a question of how you sell, it is your culture, it is your focus on ethics and values. Everything comes together. And to me, when you integrate companies or you work with companies, it's very important to bring the whole set together. If you don't bring the whole set together, then there is always a mismatch in what you're trying to do. While culture, I think, is a very large and important piece of this whole thing, it's not the only one. And many times these endeavors fail because something or the other doesn't work. I'll give you an example from engineering. Is that when you put a car together, it's very important that all its parts work in harmony. Things don't work on their own. Like you can't have a one wheel which is bigger or an engine which is of a lower capacity and so on and so forth. They all need to work in harmony. And the essence of doing business well and doing business correctly is putting everything together in harmony. And that's, I think, culture, the part you mentioned, is the glue which holds this whole thing together. So it's something which makes all these parts operate in harmony, and that's very important, but that's not the only piece.
I would like to ask, since we're talking about culture, I would like to ask, like, do you think is culture building becoming more difficult in this era of remote and hybrid work, since people are not necessarily meeting in person anymore regularly?
Yes and no. I don't think it's only not meeting. I think the culture piece definition goes much beyond people meeting and interacting. Culture is also what is the foundation and the pillars and the substance which holds a company together. What is your larger purpose? What are you trying to do? What are your non-negotiables? those kind of things. So you start with that. It helps that people interact, it helps that people meet. But I wouldn't take it as far as that only by not meeting culture windows are breaking. I think if you have your basic fundamentals right, people can operate even without necessarily being at the same place or working remotely. And let's go back to the time when the world kind of shut down during COVID, right? You had different kinds of companies. There were companies who were able to very successfully navigate this break because they had cultures which people knew what they were, and they had a good working understanding of how things operate, and they were able to navigate well. And there are many others who struggled because they did not have the kind of foundations and the kind of networks and the organization connects, which is also a part of culture, to make this whole thing work. And they struggled much more. Similarly, making much simpler examples, I think even in terms of, if I take the field of education, there were teachers who were able to navigate this very well because they could connect with students irrespective whether they were on screen or in person. I'm of course saying they could have done some things differently, but there are many others who couldn't and found it extremely challenging. So I think it is not only the physical need to be in the same place. I think it goes beyond that.
Thank you for sharing your great answer, Richard. I think Yash would like to go ahead with the rapid fire now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking that, Karpita. So, Richard, I have 6 rapid fire questions. We'll go through them. My first question is, when you're building a team, would you rather have a room full of brilliant, if inconsistent, mavericks or reliable team players?
Reliable team players any day. There is no team which has succeeded because they have only brilliant people. The team succeeds because it works together.
That's great. My next question is on AI in the workplace. Are we moving too fast or not fast enough?
I think we are negotiating at the right pace. I wouldn't put it fast or slow. It is a new technology. A new technology takes time to assimilate and understand. I would put it as the right pace. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what my opinion.
Right, that's good. My next question is the future of work. Is it more human or more machine?
It has always been both, right from the time early humans invented machine to enable effort. It has always been both. Machines enable humans to do better, to augment what they're doing. So it's always been both.
Okay. My next question is about career growth. Would you rather move fast and make mistakes or move it slowly and get it right the first time?
This one, I frankly want to say I don't know.
Okay.
Because I've seen both models work, so I can't weigh one versus the other.
But for you personally, what would you lean towards, right? I mean, I'm sure it depends on the person, but
It would depend on also the work and the company. It's not only what you're doing. So for me, moving at a more measured pace has worked, but it would also be connected to the kind of companies and the work I did rather than only me in isolation.
yeah, thank you for sharing. So my next question is, if you are an MBA student today, what would you spend more time in learning? AI and technology or human behavior and psychology?
I would spend time on learning the ability to learn.
Okay.
Psychology, technology, economics, accounting, everything can be done as long as you have the ability to learn. And remember that whatever you learn today will probably need to be relearned at some time in the future.
You bring up learning to learn a lot, right? So can you tell us, how would we develop that skill?
You won't like this answer, but that is through hard work. Focus,
Okay.
dedication, and burning the midnight oil. There is no real shortcut. There are very, very rare people who are gifted, but that's extremely rare.
Mhm.
Rest,
All right.
everybody has to work hard.
There's no shortcuts, right? My next question is, when you're hiring someone, what does matter more to you? Is it potential or experience?
Potential. I always look at potential, the ability to make a difference, the ability to work in a team. Always potential.
That's great.
So, given how quickly AI is reshaping the world, if you were to write a book which is called Human at Work, what would be the first conversation that you would want your readers to engage with?
The same I wrote 2 years back. It is titled, Will the Robo Take Away My Job? Nothing has changed from 2 years to now. It's still the question I get asked the most. Maybe next year I would change, but this year I think would largely be the same.
So, if you were interning, like if you were at our place, is there anything, that you should be doing, that you should be following from the very beginning?
View it as an opportunity to learn a new business. So whenever you're interning, you might have worked in the IT services industry or may not, but every opportunity is opportunity to understand a business, which will help you to connect things when you go back to your academics. So to me, an internship is not really about making that much of an, I mean, you will of course make an impact at the work you're doing, but it's more like you understand a business, which will help you connect the dots when you read up on something on economics or strategy or human resources or whatever. You go back and use that I understand this business better than I do some other businesses. So to me, internship is really an opportunity to understand a business better so that you can connect back so that your academic learning improves because you did this. You will of course have a parallel impact on the company that is taken for granted, but this is something which I would really urge you to focus on.
Yes, Richard, I agree with this. I should be having this practical experience and I'll put this into my theoretical.
Yeah, the connecting the pieces to academics is one of the biggest learnings you can get out of it, because in 2 months there's not that much more you can do. This is about what you can achieve. It's a great opportunity to be inside something and understand it.
I've seen online a lot of these people who are talking about these tools that allow people to apply at scale, apply for thousands of applications within a single day. So in that kind of environment, what do we as, people who are entering the workplace do to ensure that our resume stands out?
I wish I had an easy answer to that, because unfortunately now companies are also using technology to sort out these thousands of applications. But I have an interesting thought. Use the opportunities you get to meet people, that is either through an internship, through some other interaction in your campuses, etc., to build the human connect that somebody will pick up your application out of many because they know you. Not well, but they know you through a network. So the building one's network, and no matter who you are, you always start with having a very small network. And so it's not like everybody starts with any major network, but what I would like to leave you as a thought is to build a network. By building a network, you do get more attention than you would get if you are being sorted out through a process or through an automation. And once you establish your network, the stage 2 is to build your brand. And when you build your brand are you known as somebody who is good to have in a team, works well with others, works hard, delivers value. So you build a brand. And when you have network and a brand, you'll find things different. So you have actually managed to differentiate yourself from pile of applications because somebody has applied thought to what you bring to the table. There is unfortunately no easier way to do it. This is in the world where people are using algorithms. This is one of the things you can do. It will work largely, but you also have to be prepared that sometimes you might fail. But that's part of the whole job, I guess.
What are your thoughts on how does AI impact the future of job appraisal of interviews, for example? Would there be a big difference there?
AI will probably improve the both in terms of the kind and nature of questions being asked and the skill and knowledge being evaluated. Definitely, I don't see that not happening. It will still come to the differential fact, right? And I go back to a very great example which I think Roger Federer gave. And I don't, pardon me if I don't get the exact numbers right. I'm not really good at these stats. But he said, you look at two players playing at the top level of a Grand Slam. 19, I don't remember the exact number, but 99% or something of the shots would go fine. The difference between winning a match and losing a match is that balance. Though jobs and careers will not go to that level. Let's say 90%, the playing field would be leveled because everybody would access to the same technology, everybody would access to the same knowledge. The 10% will make the difference between why you versus why somebody else. And that's what you should focus on. And that is how AI will evolve in that interview panel, etc. Right? If the field is level, what is that 10% differential that you bring in? Now, whether AI picks it up, AI could pick it up through assessment or through some such center, or a human could pick it up. Both is possible. So, but what is that difference which you bring to the table?
Oh, if I may, I would like to ask one last question. Is that okay?
Last question is yours.
So I am like looking forward to building a career in HR itself. And since you've been working in the field for so many years, sir, what is one thing that you would want me, like one piece of advice you could give me as I'm beginning my career in the field of HR itself?
Spend a lot of time understanding two things: business and people. I've just used two words, but they will take your lifetime. So, and if I can substitute HR with some other field, say for example, marketing, it will still be the same answer.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for sharing that. I think if we do not have any more questions, Sarika and Yash, I would like to conclude. Okay, so thank you for sharing your insights with us, Richard. It is truly enlightening to see a leader place people at the heart of the organization. This perspective we would take forward with us as we navigate our own corporate journeys. So thank you for taking out the time to interact with us. We really appreciate you being here. Looking forward to having future interactions and learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you all three. It has been enjoyable and wish you all the very best in whatever you choose to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard.